Alright, here's number 2. We'll get this thing fired up, pull this guy in. Still waiting on the PCM on that other one. Anthony's truck out. He should be here again today. But this one's a G56. I'm gonna move my seat back a little bit. Ugh. This one's a G56 truck. Grid heater. Tint. So oil change, we got to get these headlights fixed and situated. They're either the aftermarket ones or they're not seated properly, one or the other. You can see this one as well. Oil, fuel filters. You can see a gnarly oil leak right back there. And I'll show you where that's coming from. Right in there, so we need valve covers. Probably a good pressure washing. And then the rear diff. You guys, I'll show you backside here. You can see how much oil is just all over everything. We zoom in right back there. We can see where all the oil is kind of like collecting. All on top of there. So, get the bottom pulled. 7 10mm bolts. Ready to set a new valve cover gasket on here, getting all the surfaces cleaned up and whatnot. So we'll get the valve cover on next. Trying to get that all cleaned up. Alright, so here's where we're at. We just got a new fuel filter installed, a valve cover, gaskets, all of that's been replaced. We got the oil changed, new filter. It is a Baldwin filter. That's what came off of it. That's what went back on it. It just rebranded as a CarQuest, but it is a Baldwin. I prefer to use the Mopar ones, but then we have the rear diff 75 140. So I got 6 quarts of that. I think it takes 4.5, but now we just got to get these headlights set correctly. You can see they don't fit exactly right, and then we'll be pulling the trans later today, if not tomorrow. So we're pulling this headlight out here. Got our little rag here so we don't damage the paint. So I have found the problem. So you see how there's supposed to be this guy in the frame right here? There's also one right here. So this one here needs to come out, and then this will pop back in flush. See, that comes off. It flew over here. There you go. Now it should pop back in there real nicely. Alright, there's the before. Sticks way out. And then here's the after. Nice and pretty. I'll get the other side done, taken care of. 2 bolts here, this guy, and then one underneath. There you go. It is all in. This one was a little bit more of a fight. There's some wires back there, so we did end up getting it. Let's just turn the headlights on and 4-ways on to make sure that they're good. There you go. It's all done. I want to check these back lights too. I noticed there's no reverse light bulbs in this thing. No reverse light bulbs, but let's see that outside's working. Alright. Draining the fluid now. I'll get you a little closer so you guys can see it. Looks like it's got a pinion seal right there leaking, but we'll get this thing drained out a little bit. Doesn't look all that bad. It's a little brown, burnt. Smells worse than it looks. Smells terrible. It's friggin' awful. These bolts are so like rusted over. Unless somebody sprayed them with something. Oh, there we go. Now we can really want to get into this thing and inspect. Oh yeah. That's a differential. Alright, nothing obvious in there. It looks alright. No damage, not really any metal flakes other than all of those. Nothing looks broken. Oh, get it cleaned out, brake clean it out, and throw this back up there, clean the magnet off, and go from there.
No one has made that shit.
Alright, there you go. She's full. You got any brake cleaner?
Yep.
Help clean the oil off the ground. Shit stinks, especially when you're next to it. How do you think I feel? I'm dying right now. Whew. Whew. Alright, so diff fluid, everything's done minus upping the boost, but what I noticed when we sit in this thing is it's stock as shit. Oh, I locked myself out. It's super stock. Like, you go to hit the pedal and it's very laggy, which is what stock trucks do. So I'm waiting to hear back on, you know, if he wants to throw a tune in it. If not really a big deal. We are waiting on some LEDs for the dash, and then those lights back there, black. So we'll get those black at some point when they come in, so tinted. But boost, fuel, exhaust temp, no oil pressure gauge. But he said to drive it, see how he feels, feel about it. We'll be pulling the transmission tomorrow to see how the noise is when we're driving. Mainly thing is I think it's a dual disc clutch, which if it is a dual disc, we have two options. We can go back to a single disc, a stock disc, because this is a stock truck, or it's already studded. We can tune this thing for like 450 horsepower and call it a day. So, or not. I guess we'll drive it and see how it goes. Here's how she looks on the outside. The tint is, I don't know, you said the back's definitely darker than mine was, but the front I think is on par. Third gen windows all suffer these problems. You can see the scratch marks on the window. Every one of the third gens do it. So, there you go. We're going to drive it tonight, see how it acts, see how it feels, see how the tranny feels, just to make sure we do a proper, you know, before check. So, but this thing's going to need tires before too long. Definitely going to need tires before too long. Alright, so like I said, we're going to test drive it. We're going to take it home tonight. And then see how it acts, see how it feels. I can hear kind of on the clutch where it's like, it's a dual disc, but see if that feels normal or not, depending on how much power. If we're gonna add power to it, we'll have to wait and see. If it's gonna add power, it's gonna need a good clutch. If it doesn't, we can just throw a stock clutch in it. But that's a way different feeling than an NV5600 though. I wish I could recline my seat back a little bit, but I cannot. Oh yeah. I can hear down there, I think we need to fix the floor insulation first. I can hear that through the floor. So we'll check that out. Yeah, like I said, I'll drive it. I'll let you guys know if anything interesting happens. It definitely doesn't sound right. I can kind of hear that, and it's definitely not clutch noise at that point, but I don't know. We'll pull this thing tomorrow and see what exactly comes up out of it, but I can definitely hear it. 6th has a pretty bad whine. I don't know if you guys can hear it. So while I'm sitting here, it makes noise. I push the clutch in, the noise stays. I put it in gear and it stops. Any gear stops the noise. So it's kind of weird, but just pushing the clutch in general does not stop it. All right, so I'm getting to drive it around today just to make sure, taking it back to the shop now. I can definitely see why this is a complaint, because before, when I originally saw it, I'm like, oh, that's normal dual disc noise. Well, now we're at the point where the only way the noise stops is if you physically are stopped and put it in gear. If you're rolling, whether the clutch is in, out, neutral, or in gear, it's making this horrible noise. Like, it's pretty gnarly. So we're gonna get to pulling the transmission tomorrow, checking it out. I don't know that it's a clutch issue at this point. Definitely, like, it kind of sounds a lot like when I take off in second, this truck has enough torque. Like, it actually takes off in third without any effort. But if I take off in second, it definitely, well, actually even right now, like, it feels like, or it sounds like what my NV did when the bearings were bad. If you guys remember when I had, when we swapped the NV 5600 down in Florida, that second transmission, that's kind of what it sounds like. Like, this transmission is making such a loud noise that it's actually giving me a headache. And I did verify, and all of the stuff and the padding down there is in where it needs to be. Definitely an issue going on somewhere there. So we'll get to pull it in the AM. I was supposed to do it today, did not get around to it. I had a bunch of other stuff come up. So, completely forgot to finish this video out earlier when I was driving. So you guys saw all the issues with that truck. We'll get all that taken care of sometime tomorrow. Should be having that thing back on the road by Monday if all goes well. So other than that, see if you guys can keep it consistent. I'll keep making the posts about the shop. If you guys want to bring stuff in, feel free. If you want to send me a message, centralpalogistics@gmail.com, and my Instagram, all that stuff's down in the description. Go check that out. Finish this video out with, go check out Mudflap, link down in the description as well. You get to save a shitload of money on fuel. It's a service that I use when I'm running, and it saves you a shitload of money. So do that. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Have a good one.